Well, welcome y'all to Mike's Farm. Tonight, me and my friend, my good buddy here, Thom, we're gonna be checking out these Michelob Golden Lights, y'all. Just kidding.
Talking about a movie that's I think it's near and dear to my heart. Because of the pickled eggs and little touches like that. You know what Okay, now I'm getting into an Italian accent. Whatever. No, we're going to be talking about Tucker and Dale later on, and then higher education too, the cost and such. But uh, I'm curious. We're doing Mick Light because in the movie, I think you said they were drinking PBR, and we already tried
We've
that.
already
And we
done,
have
but
oh,
in the movie they do
yeah.
PBRs.
So, but in the spirit of the movie, we're trying a beer tonight. So, but
And I didn't get all gussied up for nothing.
and,
He'll,
and
he'll,
I got my Dale hat right here.
and I'm doing my best, Tucker, but I'm not quite sure I'm qualified for that and such. I reckon. All right. This is not
Cheers.
Mike's farm. This is Mike's apartment. We may or
Yeah,
may not go back into talking like that again. Just depends. All right.
it's
So
it's hard not to. I
it's
think
all.
sometimes when you're talking about these movies,
Yeah.
but
So movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil. We're gonna talk about higher education before that. We're gonna do this. So Mike's apartment. We got a scale. 5 at the top. Five's the best of the best. It's ambrosia. 0. It's shit. 0. It's not good. Now we're gonna taste these, and then while we're tasting them, we're gonna talk about our serious topic, higher education. Believe it or not, Thom and I both have master degrees. We both have graduate degrees, not PhDs, but we both have our masters. He has an MBA. I have an
yeah,
MSc. Um,
yeah,
MSc is just your master in science.
hmm
Yeah, believe it or not, despite our attire and the format of Mike's apartment being very lowbrow, we actually both have degrees. So we're going to talk about our experiences with higher education and what we would recommend, maybe for other people. And then we'll jump into Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and see where we go from there. So, all right, with no further ado, come on now, good buddy, let's us take a sip of this here Devil's Swill. Cheers.
And let's see if it is Devil's Swill. Cheers. There you go.
Mm. Foamed a little bit. Mm.
Mm. This is the beer I remember tasting when I first tried beer. I don't know if it was Mick Light, but it tastes like that.
It does.
It's
Oh
or
man.
similar enough. I don't know, man.
Well, if the good Lord has provided, I guess we must drinketh. He wouldn't in his infinite wisdom have made such
You
a
know,
drink.
I mean, if I were to cut into a beehive and get stung all over the face, like somebody in the movie,
You might
pouring this over my face might help, disinfect it.
a little bit. All right, so
Yeah, I'm kidding.
far we're gonna let's allow the beer to flow for a minute. Let's talk about our experiences with higher education and what we would recommend for people going into that. Why don't you go ahead, Thom, and just like give some background on yourself or whatever you want to say about
I
it.
don't know if my experience is like as far as like the classes and stuff go. I don't know if my experience is what most people would relate to, but my ex-wife taught at Minnesota School of Business, and as a benefit, family could get their education tuition free. So I didn't the and it was all online. Um, the only thing I had to go in for, I think, was when I picked up like my well, from my bachelor's, we had physical books, so I had to go get those. And then my robes when I graduated. Um, and then my master's degree was all digital. So I didn't have to pay anything except for some admin fees, and I had to pay for the robe and stuff when I graduated with that. But anyways, so I think it's funny whenever I get like these calls or whatever from like people help, saying we can help you save money on your student loan debt or whatever, and I'm like, are you gonna give me money? It's like, but the experience with the courses, so the format for each class was basically the same for both bachelor's and master's degree. You had a main assignment for the week that was due by 11:59 p.m. Sunday night. Um, they had a chat where you had to post on whatever the topic was, and then you had to comment, and I think that was due by like Wednesday, and then you had to comment on at least two other people's posts. Same thing with the master's degree. And one thing that was frustrating to me was, as when we were doing the bachelor's and then got to the master's level, the same issues. Like people would just write stuff out and they wouldn't edit. They would just, and so half the time, I was getting frustrated because you and I are writers, right? And we like it to look and sound good, and I'm always impressed whenever like I guess maybe you use AI a little bit to help out now, but even before that though, I mean over the years, just I was always impressed with like your descriptive abilities and stuff like that, and that as Stephen King said it in his book on writing, quality comes with revision. So read what you wrote, read it out loud. Because half the time these people, I didn't mind if somebody from another country had issues with their English grammar. That's fine. You're doing better than I do with Spanish. So, uh, but for people who this was their first language, and I was like, what are you? I can't understand what you're trying to say. Those are English words, but for my master's project, we had to review another person's project, and we had the option of doing a business plan, meaning like you're starting a business from scratch. You have the plan for it and all the whatever. And mine ended up being close to 60 pages. The other option was to do a business project, something that needs to be, accomplished at your job. And those usually were closer to like 20, maybe 25 pages. And that's what the guy that I was paired up with did. And when I looked at I was like, he had all the stuff he needed in it. It was good, but he needed an editor. So I went through and was like, put in a bunch of comments about how to rephrase things and et cetera. And I might have made a couple other suggestions on things that could improve the project, but all said and done, the I I was they did offer a doctorate program, and I thought about taking it, but I got to the end of my master's degree, and I was like, nope, I'm done with school. I might take a class or two here or there to kind of like get a certificate or something that's appropriate for kind of work or something, but I'm not going back to school. I'm like, I don't know,
Okay.
but yeah. So how about you, Mike?
Well, I had to pay for mine. But I hold well. Okay, not all of it. So I went to Anthem College in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. For better or for worse, what for my, I mean for my bachelor's, sorry, for my bachelor's. For better or for worse, a few years, maybe not a few years, maybe like 5 or 6 years after I graduated, they went bankrupt and they could no longer and they were not like a for-profit school or anything either, but they went bankrupt and could no longer provide like I mean, luckily I had digital copies of my transcripts. There was no issue for me necessarily in that
Yeah.
regard. But they got the shit suit out of them. I jumped on there and the government forgave all of that student debt for me. So that part I didn't have
Oh,
to
nice.
pay. For my master's, I went to Walden University, also in Minneapolis. That school is both. It's kind of weird. It's a hybrid. It's both public and for profit. So there were parts of it, as you said, there were parts of it that were online and parts of it that were in
Yeah.
person. Like we did have to go to
Hmm.
class, and that was a science degree. It, I'll say this, it was heavy on the math and the science. Like for the math, like you couldn't just write down answers, right? Like
Hmm.
you had to show your work, and I would say like that was maybe the most challenging thing for me was, I mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I love science. So the science part is not an issue. The math, like just the pure mathematics though, like that does not come naturally to me. That's something I have to like work on, and my luckily my sister is a math whiz. So I had her to she just tutored me over the phone. Like she looked at like she's like one of those people
Mhm.
who can just look at like math stuff and it just comes like it just naturally comes to them. And I'm not. I'm not quite like that. So it takes me like I have to sit there and like figure it out. So anyways, so no, I needed tutoring, so I definitely, needed a tutor, but I got through the math stuff. And then yeah, and then the science stuff I'm really good at. Like naturally I'm good at science, which might sound weird that, because you think math and science are kind of related, but really, I mean, science is a little bit different. Um, Long story short, though, I was able to get, my stuff paid off. I got all of my colleges. I actually have no student loan debt right now.
Yeah.
And it would have been a lot harder had my bachelor's degree
Yeah.
fully charged me for everything, which they were not able to do because they got, again, the crap was sued out
Screwed.
of them. And also too, well, here's like the thing too.
Oh.
So what I would say is this: we come from an era where people were saying the entire time, if you don't get a college degree you can't make money, you only if you want
Hmm.
to, or once you get your degree you're going to make six figures, we guarantee it, you're going to make all this money, don't worry
Yeah,
about
they
how
can't
much you're
guarantee
paying.
it. Yeah.
And it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
There's
No.
tons of positions that are filled but with college graduates, and they do not make anywhere near any difference from the people who just have like high school diplomas.
Mhm.
Like they're making like the same amount. So what I would say is this. I would say two things. If you go to college, don't necessarily think, back to your writing thing though. Writing, you talked about Stephen King's On Writing.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
read a book from David Eddings. I think it was called the Riven Codex. It was about, so he wrote all these fantasy books, right? And he's like an English major, so he has like a bunch of whatever stuff. What he wrote in there, what I thought was the best advice ever, because you talked about revisions. He said, write 1,000,000 pages, then burn them all. And now you're ready to start writing a book, because he just said
Yeah.
you're gonna go through so much. And also about the
Mhm.
AI, I have thoughts on the AI too. So this is what I think. It can be. Here's the deal. I don't think. I really, 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 really don't think that people who lack the basic skills in writing, like on their own, should use AI for a very specific
Mhm.
reason. It can augment you. It can assist you. You know what it can't do?
Mhm.
This is the thing. Like, let's talk about role playing games, for instance, because you and I
Mhm.
are in a role playing game group,
Mhm.
and we
Yeah.
write we write somewhat extensively for that. This is what I would say about like AI and how that can help you. If all you use is AI, you will have the most bland and generic writing that you can
Mhm.
think of. Here is what AI is. AI is the average of human intelligence. It's not the height of it. So when you
Mhm.
go in and ask for help from AI to write things, it has no imagination. It has no creativity. It might kind of
No.
seem
Yeah.
like it because it's throwing stuff out there, but it's an LLM. Okay, it's a language learning model. It's not. It isn't actually smart, and it's wrong. It gets what's called amnesia, AI amnesia often, and it gets things wrong or not right. Absolutely, you cannot use it for that reason. What I would say it can do for you, though, like for example, if you have something already written, like something that you wrote yourself, it can correctly, grammatically speaking
Yeah.
and spelling wise, it can fix
Hmm.
that. Oh, it can do
Yeah.
that, but it cannot replace a human. It is not ready.
No.
Wherever you think AI is right now, and it's, as our friend Jack often says, it is the average of human intelligence. It is
Yeah.
not
Well,
the
and it
height of
can
it.
only do what you tell it to do. So if you
Yeah.
want it to be like super cool or whatever, you're gonna have to put in the work on the prompts.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
you will. Yeah, definitely. Prompting is important, but I would also say too the base writing, like what you start at, like what you put into it, needs to already be like what substantially, or substantively, like what you're already going to write. Don't think, and that's the thing too, and this is what I hate. Well, and here's the thing too. So we talk about higher education. Well, let's talk about public education for a second, and what our kids,
mhm,
are going to be going. All the American children are going to be going through, which is teachers aren't paid enough, so we're not attracting the best and the brightest. Number one, and teachers leave because there's a lot of BS with being a teacher. Not only that, they have to
mhm,
provide their own supplies out of their own pocket, and we're paying, and they're like, oh, well, you charge the parents all this money in taxes, and it's like, that stuff is mostly going towards like administrative or testing like purposes. Like that's not.
mhm,
I feel like it's time. No, we do have some great teachers. We have some, and they're
mhm,
out there like for the kids, or they're out there for to be a teacher, which is its own special skill set. But we are also losing good teachers because they know they can just go into business or work for some corporation and make three or
mhm.
four times what they're making now in
Yeah.
some
My
training
my older
department.
m- my older brother did that. Well, he originally went to school to be a lawyer, and then he met a girl and is like thinking, okay, if I won't go and be a lawyer, I'm gonna be working 70, 80 hours a week, and now I met this girl and I'm thinking about a family. So he switched to teaching, which is what she did. And then they did their student teaching down in Texas and then came back and got jobs here in Minnesota, like they were just outside Minneapolis. And they were living in this townhouse and he accidentally got his neighbor's mail and he without thinking about it he opened up one of the letters and it was a check for a large amount of money and so he's like oh crap and so he realized what he did. He went over to the neighbors and he knocked on the door. He's like, I apologize, I didn't realize it was yours. And but can I ask what you do for a living? And the guy was a wholesaler for an investment company. Which what that is, if you don't know what a wholesaler is for an investment company, let's say like Fidelity. Let's say they have a mutual fund or something that they offer. They'll have a wholesaler that will go in and meet with financial advisors and try to get them to sell it and it's to sell their investment. So that's and now so he did really well with that. Then the economy crashed and they laid off a bunch of people. They kept him because he was a good salesman, and they just increased his area that he had to travel. And so now he was like traveling all the time, and he ended up switching to be a financial advisor. But he's kind of an example of what you're saying, where he's a good teacher. He's really good at public speaking and all that kind of stuff. I've seen him do a lot of stuff, and I think he'd be a great teacher. But he saw the money, and he's like, I think he was probably making what like 30, 40 grand a year or something as a teacher, and then because I think he only had a bachelor's. I think I was the first in my family to get a master's. But anyways,
Oh, well, that same that same sister of mine that I was telling you about who is tutoring me, she's a doctor. And she works in the medical field. So, yeah. So anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, all I was trying to say is you're right because there's a lot of to be a public education teacher or even a, higher education teacher, the skill set required is valuable, in the corporate world also where they will pay you for your time and everything. Not only that, teachers get treated really poorly. They're like, why isn't my kid doing better? Why can't my kid learn this? It's your fault. And it's like, okay, well, you crammed 50 kids into my classroom. I can't spend extra time on Joshifer or Tegan or whatever your kid's name is. I can't spend extra time on every single kid when I don't have the help for it. I don't have the supplies for it. These kids are looking at and then what are they doing at home? What are the parents doing? Oh, they're putting them on their little devices and they're just sitting there. It's like, why is it these little kids are learning how to interact with this device before they learn to read and write? They're not even literate. I mean,
Yeah.
they can't
Yeah.
read. They can't read or
That's
write,
true.
but they can look at their phone or their tablet or whatever. And I
Hmm.
don't know. It just it kind of goes back though to like the AI thing, which is like you need to have that base, that base of. And the thing is, this also for me and Tom, just to understand too. We both went through college and got our graduate degrees when AI was not a thing. So neither one of us
Yeah.
had any help. There's no help here from AI for our degrees. So it's not like we have AI degrees or something. It's not like we're AI slop degrees or something like that. I mean, this is
Okay.
before they even had that.
Yeah.
I mean, so we,
Can I tell you a
of course,
story?
of
I
course.
think I've told you this story, but it's the only time I ever cheated. So when I was getting my master's degree, I was working full time in downtown Minneapolis. We lived in a little town called Hanover. So if I drove to work, it was like, I think 45 to minutes to an hour, depending on traffic, and it would be during rush hour. So what I did instead was I rode the bus. So I would drive into Maple Grove, which was like a 20-minute drive to the transit station. And then I got on the bus and maybe took a nap or something, went downtown. But anyways, the trip ended up being longer because I had to wait for the bus. And then I had to get off the bus, get into my car, and then continue on. Anyways, so I was doing that. I'd get home from work, I'd be really tired, but our kids were young. They were born 2008 and 2011. And so they would want to wrestle. And so I'd, wrestle with them. And then by the time they went to bed, I'm burned out. And then I was DJing on the weekends for like 3.5 years. So, and that was like, so my Saturdays, I'd sometimes pick up the equipment around 10 a.m. in the morning and not get home until 3 a.m. Sunday morning. So I remember this one time we had this research paper that was due, and I had no time to do it. So, like I said, our assignments were due 11:59 p.m. Uh, Sunday night. So I got home, Sunday morning and from DJing and slept like half the day, got up and helped my ex with the kids and whatever we were doing. And then about 11 p.m. that night, I sat down, found a Wikipedia article on
Oh,
JFK's years in high school and early college, and I rewrote it in my own words. I just basically verbatim typed up the whole article and just changed the words. I used all the same sources that they used on the website, and I just formatted them in because Word has that has a feature that'll allow you to save all your sources, so you can do in-text citations, and then the what do you call the thing at the end of the document with all your citations?
references or
Yeah,
I don't remember. I mean, I think it's
I don't
different.
remember
I
either,
think I
but
think MLA is different from APA, and you probably used
yeah,
MLA for business
no,
because I used
no,
APA for.
I remember. No, I think I used
You
APA.
did use APA, okay? Because
That
that's a
sounds
standard
familiar. That
for
sounds right.
yeah, yeah. Because no,
But
they're both different standards for how you cite
so
things. But
but that's the only time I ever cheated, and I knew they had this program with so you were allowed to plagiarize, quote unquote, a certain percent. You just had to set your source. And what the teachers would do is they would take your document, plop it in this little program to make sure you weren't stealing somebody's work. And so I had it all in my words, like the way I would have said it. And I submitted it at like 11:58 p.m.
Eh.
and I got it back. It was 100% with a comment. Great paper, great sources. I went to that school. I know all these stories. And I was like, holy.
Well.
So, who was it that was telling me that there was a student who submitted, it was a scientific paper in some science class, I think, and it was like some kind of research and theoretical, whatever. I don't. Anyways, turned out the teacher's aide in that class was the guy who actually wrote that paper. It was like part of
That's funny.
his thesis or whatever. I don't know. It's like,
I will just say, yeah. I mean, at this current point, what it seems like, both the students and the teachers are using AI. The students are writing their papers in AI, and then the teachers are using AI to see if it's AI that they're cheating from. So at this current moment, I'll just say we'll only dwell on it a little bit more, but I would just say this: college can be a great experience. College, you can learn a lot from it. College, though, does not guarantee a paycheck. So if the only reason you're going to school is to make a lot of money, college is probably not the way to do that. At least not a lot of college, anyways. And
if you want to be a doctor, I would imagine.
yeah,
that's kind of necessary,
some
but
professions, yeah. No, you cannot go on YouTube and learn to be a brain surgeon. Some things you do need to go to. Let me go this video.
Let me pull up this video. Yeah.
I'm uncannily adroit with a knitting needle. No, I'm just kidding. That's from Band.
You might be able to do that with like plumbing videos.
Yeah. Maybe like some home improvement stuff. But I'm just saying, yeah, definitely there are some professions you cannot have without going into college, but it's not all. So I would consider the other thing too, trade professions. Plumbers, carpenters, electricians, welders, mechanics, all those jobs, those are all really good jobs that can pay you a lot of money and they don't take as much time or the investment that going to college does. If you want to go to college, you should. But it should be because you want to learn in whatever you're learning. Don't expect, though, or even hope. I mean, I hate to say even hope for, because I don't want to crash on people's hopes and dreams, but at the same time, I want to be like I want to be realistic with you, which is like if you go and get your literature degree or your liberal arts degree or your creative writing degree, there is a high chance you will not find a job in any of those fields that will pay you enough to pay your student loan. So here's the other side. So Thom, you don't know as much about this as maybe I do. Student loans can crush you. Student loans can be, yes, they can kind of balance it against, how much money you're making. But let me tell you something. It's still a lot of fucking money. And we're past our 7 minutes, so we can say that, even though that I think that's an urban legend for YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll just say, yeah, you could be crushed with student debt. It may not seem like a lot. If you're only making like a few $1,000s a month, like $1,000 or $2,000 a month, but you're paying $300 to $400 of that in student loans, trust me, you will not be living large. You will be living poor for like 20 to 25 if you never get up in that field.
You'll be a master at cooking ramen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you will learn how to cook ramen really well. You'll learn how to live in this is Mike's apartment here, so
yeah,
you could tell I'm not living in some mansion here or some other bullshit. So I would just say be really careful.
Yeah, same here.
Before you rush through this degree thinking you're going to make a bunch of money, be prepared for it not to pay you anywhere near what you think you're going to make. That's all I'll say. Again,
Mhm.
I love education. I kind of, in a way, I wish that like bachelor's degrees. I mean, maybe graduate degrees you have to pay more money for, but I kind of wish like bachelor's degrees at least would be free or somewhat paid for by the state.
Cheaper. Yeah.
It's just, the education means everything. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is definitely
Yeah.
power. And the more you learn, the better off you are. Especially, and here's the thing, like a lot of people are like, well, I can learn everything I want to know from YouTube or this class or that class. It's like, that's great. But you know what college offers is this. It pushes you to learn things you would not otherwise want to know. And I'll give a great, I actually do have a little tiny story here. I was taking my bachelor's and I had to take an art class. And I
Hmm.
heard modern art was easy. So and actually like prior to that point in my life, I
Hmm.
had never valued art. I went through art classes in like middle school and high school. I thought they were
Hmm.
bullshit. I always thought it was nothing. So I was pushed. I was pushed into a direction I would not otherwise have chosen. And I learned modern art, and honestly, I fell in love. I learned about all the different art movements. I learned about the different artists. And actually, modern art is not like modern, because postmodern or post whatever is where they are. But all the different like artists that I was like forced to look at and read about, I got more and more interested in it. And it's one of those things, like like food or like anything else, the more you learn about it, the more you appreciate it, right? Like if you're knowledge, like
Hmm.
even like a little bit knowledgeable. And so after that, I went to New York City and I went to the what is it called, the M Museum of Modern Art. Yeah, just the MMA, yeah, the Museum of Modern Art. It was life changing and amazing because I was looking at all these exhibits and I'm like, I know who these are. I know who these artists are. I know about this movement. I know about,
Hmm.
and I was like, I was literally changed because what college offered to me was I was forced to study something that I didn't naturally or on my own think of as
Hmm.
useful. And maybe it's not useful, but it added an appreciation to my life that I would not have otherwise had. I never
Hmm.
would have
Yeah.
appreciated modern art without it. And actually, I went a
Hmm.
second time. I went back to New York City, and honestly, one of the biggest reasons was to go back to the Museum of Modern Art because it was just so amazing. Anyways, so I'm just saying to you guys,
Hmm.
college is useful.
Uh-huh.
It will force you down paths
Yeah.
that maybe you're
Wh-
not comfortable with, and that's good.
hmm.
You should
Hmm.
somehow have some well-roundedness because there are no Renaissance men anymore, are there, Tom?
Well, except for us
Except
and
for
Tucker and
us
Dale.
and Tucker
But
and Dale.
no, I wanted to comment real quick too.
Sure.
Another thing, so I did everything online, but there I except for my associate's degree, I went to Central Lakes College, which was a community college up by Brainerd or in Brainerd, Minnesota. Brainerd, for anybody who's watched, was it Fargo? Brainerd's in there. And the Blue Ox is not a truck stop; it's a topless bar, but downtown. Anyways, I for me when I was there, meeting other people and stuff like that, and being in a college level class where there's higher expectations on you than say in high school. Um, and so I think the social experience can help you grow as well. Um, so there are benefits there, I think, that kind of help because it's in high school. Like when I was in high school, I mean, like I was in a small school. I knew pretty much everybody, and I could, go between one group and another and just be friends with everybody. But with a few exceptions, of course. But there's always an exception. But when I got to college, it's like, wow, it's like just another level. I was involved in theater in high school. I tried to get involved in theater there, and it took me a little bit to get in because I don't know, it just took me a little bit. But once I got in, I was in everything creative there. Like like the music, both band and choir, theater, and I did everything in the theater. They had a work study job where I could work in the scene shop and help build sets and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. Just did not like going up on the super tall rickety ladder to change out lights up in the rafters.
Ah,
But
ah, the theatre. 'Tis it not nobler in the eyes of man? Something, something, something. Let's
so,
do some
but
Shakespearean experiences here in the
I I
theater.
I think I think that I think the social expanding your world socially, I think, is a good, at least in most cases, can be a good experience.
I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, we say 18-year-olds are adults. Really, you ain't an
I
adult
can't
till
drink.
you ain't an adult till you're 30.
That's
but
probably true.
that said, yeah, I mean you're absolutely right. I think there's like a maturation period for especially for young people to go into college and have the experience where they're away from home, away from
Hmm.
whatever, and they're kind of having to deal with all these different social things. And then of course there's the sexual part, which is these young hormone ridden
Hmm.
teenage 18 and 19-year-olds turning into
Oh,
20 and whatever year
yeah.
olds, and you're having all these experiences, and not just sexually but like relationship wise, and you're kind
Parties.
of parties where everyone's going rah, crazy. I mean, yeah,
Uh, I
there's a lot to learn.
we my buddies and I hosted a party by mistake. It's like
Oh my.
our band and choir, and then we had small groups too, like jazz bands and stuff. But I'm not drinking any more of this, by the way. I switched to my other drink. But
Pump up
so
the
you probably know
jam.
close to what my rating is going to be. But anyways,
Me too,
so
actually.
we there was this event where several colleges got together, and we would, like I said, I think it was like say Friday night, we would do like shows for each other, whatever, and then Saturday I think we had like some rehearsals, and then Sunday we had like a large choir, mixed choir and band with all the schools. So Friday night, um, me, I had is me and like three buddies staying in the upstairs of this cabin. Then we had some buddies staying downstairs from us that had a country band, and we decided we wanted to get together and just have a jam session. And we were inviting a few people. Well, apparently, we invited somebody who was already wasted, who said there was a party going on in cabin 12 after the stuff tonight. So I remember as I think I was playing bass guitar and we were just kind of jamming. I looked down and there's like maybe 10 people there, and I look up and there's like 30 people there. There's people jumping on my bed, drinking like beer, like oh, and it's like "Dad, I gotta sleep there." It's like they and then somebody came in. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and the part four, getting close to like three, whatever, and the party's still going strong. And I looked at my buddy. I was like, "How are we going to get people out of here so we can get to sleep?" And somebody came in and said, "Hey, there's a party down at poolside." So then they all left. We had beer, we had beer cans and all sort of crap all over the place. It was like it was a mess. We were the host, but we were the only ones who were sober.
Well,
Excuse me. So I didn't really drink or anything back then. So
you've
I've
you've made up for it in these years.
I'm a recovering non-alcoholic.
All right, let's just do it. Tom, rate it. Rate this shit.
Two,
2?
two.
Okay.
I mean, I could probably drink it if I was in company and that's what they were drinking, but it'll probably be warm before I'm done with it. So
I'm gonna actually rate it lower than you. And I like beer. I would say so. Maybe that makes me more critical of it than less.
yeah, maybe
Uh,
I'm being less critical than I should be. I don't know.
I'll say God, I want to say 1.5, but I'm kind of leaning towards 1.75. Here's the thing. This is below average. If you don't know any better about beer or the different tastes, even if you like cheap beer, okay, PBR's so much better in so many ways, and it's just as like it's just as cheap as this. This is like, and I'm still drinking it. You know what? I'm gonna keep drinking it throughout this video because I'm committed. But if I wasn't
No, I'm
committed,
not.
I'm committed. I gotta do it. I gotta keep going here. Otherwise, no one's gonna drink this beer.
You can do it, Tucker. I know you can. You can do it.
Oh, thank you. I never had so much support before in my whole life. Oh,
I already
yeah.
gave up. So I got plenty of support through your way. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, let's just say 1.75. It is subpar. If you are already drunk, maybe this would be okay. But like to start with this, you must be a college student because you've never had anything better. Because my God, I mean, this is not this is fucking swill. This is some redneck some redneck wearing a red flannel sleeveless shirt with a John Deere hat on, liking it. I'm gonna keep going though. I'm gonna keep going with it, but I'm just saying 1.75. So fuck. All right, let's just change our tone here.
Real
Well,
versus evil.
yeah. Tucker and Dale, the movie. What was it? 2010, 2011? I don't remember when it came out, but
Maybe 12. I don't
12.
remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like mid 2010s
Tucker and
or
Dale
something.
versus Evil, a comedy movie about some college kids interacting with some, you might call them rednecks, you might call them
I believe
whatever,
they're up in West Virginia, right?
something like that. Yeah, but two
So,
people, but then you kind of realize that there's a lot more complexity to the story, and also it's very funny because the college kids are essentially killing themselves throughout the entire movie, and then you have the bad guy is still like just like a laughable person.
mhm.
But I'll let you, Tom, you go ahead. Let's hear what you think about the
Okay,
movie.
so I saw this movie a long time after it came out. I wanted to see it when it came out, and then stuff happened. I was married, and my ex doesn't really like horror movies, so I had very kind of a limited time when I could watch that kind of stuff. And then I forgot about it. And then uh, when my wife and I separated, I think I saw it on Amazon Prime or something, and I watched it. I didn't remember anything about it from the previews. And the movie just came out of left field, and just it was the most glorious experience watching it. And I think I've watched it like 4 times since then, and I should probably watch it every year. But basically, you have two. I was calling them Hicks. Alan Tudyk. If I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, and I can't remember the other actor's name. But Alan, his character Tucker, bought a cabin out in the woods. They want to use it as a vacation home. Except when you see it, it looks like the lair of like a serial killer with like newspaper clippings up on the wall and all this stuff. And it's a death trap. There's like Alan Tudyk, leaned on a post or pardon me, Tucker leaned on a post, and Dale tackled him out of the way of this board that swang down with like nails, which that's gonna sticking out of it. That's gonna come up later. But that was another thing. They had a lot of good setups and payoffs in the movie. But anyways, um, so they're heading out to fix up the cabin, and on the way they meet these come across these 6 college students, 3 guys, 3 girls, at a gas station, and uh, I don't want to give away any of the like all the stuff, but funny stuff just happens from the very beginning. And what it kind of comes down to, I think the movie is just about communication and misunderstanding. I think you could throw in the curse of knowledge, which you're familiar with that, right, Mike? The curse of knowledge.
But I
Uh,
I
I'll
don't know.
explain.
I don't reckon
Uh,
I know rightly after all these brews.
So, in short, it's the idea that once you know something and it's obvious to you, you think it's obvious to everyone else. Um,
Mm.
for example, one example I've heard of this was they asked a group of iPhone users and a group of Android users if somebody were to switch from Android to iPhone or vice versa, which would be easiest for them to figure out. And the iPhone users all said iPhones because they were familiar with it. And the Android users all said Android. So, I mean, there might have been like some people that uh, were different, had different answers, but in general, that was the idea. Or try to relate to somebody who doesn't know that 2 + 2 = 4. Can you do that? Can you relate to somebody in that state of mind?
Eh.
It's really difficult for us to. So in the movie, they have all these miscommunications going on. Like uh, the main actress girl, she fell off a rock, hit her head, and landed in the lake. Tucker and Dale pull her up into their boat, and Dale is like waving and yelling at her friends, like, "Hey, we got your friend!" And then the one of the other girls is like, "They knocked her out. They're kidnapping her." And they all run off screaming and stuff. And Dale's like, "I don't know what happened." It's like, your friends all just ran off last night. I don't know what happened. But we brought you back here so that they would maybe come pick you up. And then they play board games and all this stuff. Uh, and then Tucker was outside chopping up some wood with a chainsaw, and he cut into a beehive. And so all the bees came out and they're like stinging him. And he comes out running as her friends are approaching, like cautiously. He comes out running, swinging his chainsaw, and he scares the crap out of one kid who runs off. I won't go on. It's all like misunderstandings,
Mm.
and if they were to just kind of similar to Cabin Fever, which was another movie that not necessarily comedy. It was basically uh, these kids are camping in this cabin, and this guy shows up who has some kind of flesh-eating disease, and so then the kids get it, and they all panic. But it was a situation that had they had been level-headed about it, they could have quarantined and called for help or whatever, and it could have been avoided. And this is kind of the same thing. It's not any supernatural monster. There is a monster guy. He's basically a serial killer or whatever who shows up in the movie. But but anyways, it's just if people would have just had level heads and just they could have uh, been all right. I kind of I was thinking about this earlier and I almost mentioned it to you, but then I decided to save it. I think the way events unfold in the movie is very similar to the show Peacemaker, where they like say they come to an agreement or something, and then somebody who doesn't know that they came to agreement jumps through a window and just starts stabbing the guy in the neck or something. Um, and it's just crazy stuff. It's just because uh, people aren't communicating. But
Well, I
anyways,
mean, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you could say a lot of the world's issues could be better solved with better communication rather than jumping to
yeah,
actions or
conclusion.
doing things
Yeah.
or yeah. I mean, it's like what is it? Challenge your preconceptions, or your preconceptions will challenge you. Ain't
Mhm.
that right now?
That's just downright.
Right?
You're just so smart. I don't know how you know that kind of stuff. Now, me, I can remember lots of little details. Like, I'm really good at Trivial Pursuit. And when we get back to the cabin, I'm going to finish her off.
Finish her off. Damn, they might be have communicated a little bit better than that.
That's
Oh,
funny
oh,
because he said that
yeah, he did.
as he's like carving that message in the log with an
Oh,
axe that somebody threw at the tree. And her friends are listening in on that. And he's like, when we get back to the cabin, I'm going to finish her off, okay? And then we can get back to
he's
work.
like, I didn't see it all. I didn't see it all, but I think he was eating her face. That was back. That was back when they were on the boat, or the
Oh, the
yeah,
boat.
the
Yeah,
canoe,
when they
or
saw him taking off on
yeah.
the
They're like,
boat.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to say anything, but I think they were eating her face. I don't know. Yeah, that movie has a lot of good. I would say this. It's very much so a comedy movie. I will say, Tom, I disagree slightly. I didn't really find it to be a horror movie. Like there was no
Oh,
point where I was like
I think
scared of what
no, I
was
think it
happening.
was
But
maybe a better word would be mock horror.
yeah, mock horror. Yeah, it was. It is. Yeah.
But
So I,
because
excuse me, but I think your ex should have given it a chance. Even if she hated horror movies, that would have maybe
well,
been a good
that
movie for her. I don't
that's
know.
one thing I kind of liked. I tried to get my kids to watch Cabin in the Woods, which was the Joss Whedon movie. Have you seen it? Are you familiar?
I don't think I have. No.
So another group of college kids. Thor is one of them. Go camping in the woods. Thor, crap, what's his name? The actor.
The older one, yeah, because there's him and then his brother. Shit.
But anyways, I don't know. We're gonna get some dislikes on this because I forgot his
Yeah, I
name.
know.
But anyways, he was in it. But so I won't say too much about it because we're talking about Tucker and Dale. But there's a sex scene with some nudity in it,
Ooh.
which you don't see that much anymore. And Tucker and Dale doesn't have that.
No.
Um, I mean, they show the girl kind of undressing up on the rock, but you don't. She's still wearing like her underwear and
No, no,
shorts
no,
or
no, no,
whatever.
no,
I
no,
don't.
no, 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 no. There is that scene. The girl, not the main girl, the one who had the boob job.
Okay. Oh, did
Well,
I
clearly
don't?
that one was shown. Well, at a distance. At a distance, that I
Yeah,
believe was shown. But
I think
no.
I might have missed it on the last watch through.
Oh,
And I was.
well, I'll take some
I'd also
screenshots.
taken my gummies,
Oh,
but
I'll take some screenshots for you and send them. Don't worry about that. You need a little nighttime
so.
activity. No, I'm just kidding.
But anyways, no, it was one that had it not been so gory, I think my ex might have been able to watch it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
like
I mean it
like
was.
well, I say gory. There isn't a lot, and she did actually make it through Hot Fuzz, which I think had more
Hmm.
gore in it. So maybe she could have handled this movie, or could handle it, because she's
Well,
still alive. There's a chance she might still watch it. But my kids loved it too.
but probably
So
not with you, unfortunately.
no, probably not.
With her.
It's
Well,
funny. Oh, well, actually, never mind. I'm getting off track.
yeah, we
But
should probably not talk about your ex too much. I don't know.
no, I wasn't going to say anything bad. It's just,
It's okay if you
I,
do. Go ahead.
no,
I doubt she's watching.
yeah,
Hey,
I
hey,
I don't want
X,
to,
we're
I don't want,
here.
I'm
X,
not
we're
going to talk
here.
bad about my kid's mom. So,
Hmm.
but anyways, yeah, the Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I think, um, the bad guy at the end. I
Well, he
mean,
was kind of the
they
bad
it's
guy throughout. I mean, he the whole time he
yeah,
was like crazy, but
but he
more or
kind
less.
of revealed it more and more as the movie went on. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence as to how I feel about that specific character. But it is called Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and kids accidentally committing suicide all around them because they think it's a suicide pact, and they're going back to the cabin to get.
I
They're going back to the cabin
mean,
to get her and kill her too. But that's not evil. That's
Jesus.
misunderstanding. So I guess if they, I don't, I don't mind it really. I just kind of have mixed feelings about how that character was written, or how maybe it was how he was portrayed. I don't know.
Gotcha.
but I'd still give it like 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, uh, I'm I don't know.
I mean, I'll say this. I feel like the reach on the movie was not far, but they reached what they were trying to do.
Hmm.
Alan Two Dicks. Just kidding. Alan Tudyk. I think his performance, as always, he was Wash in Firefly slash Serenity. He was Rogue One. He was the robot. He actually, he's a big, this last year, 2025, as we're speaking in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2025, our Alan Tudyk actually is quite the defender of both voice actors and what is it, motion something? Not motion picture, but the other slow motion,
Motion capture.
motion capture. Yeah, yeah. He is quite the defender of talent in those communities and why they don't make as much money as people on the big screen. You can argue that back and forth. I'm not going to necessarily go into that, but I will say, yeah, he's a big defender of those things, and he's been in himself personally a lot of roles like that. So I can see why,
Yeah,
but he's also been in a lot of live action roles. Also, I mean, obviously.
yeah.
Um,
Well, he did the voice of the cockroach on the Doom Patrol show, and then he also played the main bad guy at the beginning of the show.
I mean, yeah, he is a multifaceted, multi-talented person. No, no, and you know what else? Being born with two dicks. I mean, what woman could say no to that? I mean, what two women could say no to it at the same time? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I mean, clearly he is a very talented man, and yeah, I also liked what is it? Uh, Noon to whatever the Western movie with him, Christian Bale. Noon to some.
yeah,
Oh my
I haven't seen
God!
it.
Oh, you would like it. He is in it. Christian Bale's in it, and there's some other people. Noon to Yuma. Noon to Yuma something. I don't
That
remember.
sounds familiar,
It was like
but
it's
I don't know.
basically it's a train heist. It's a western. It's a train heist like type movie. I don't know. Anyways, I'll show it to you sometime. But anyways, yeah, yeah. No, that's an amazing. He has done so many. Yeah, Alan Tudyk has done so many amazing things that it's. Yeah, he's a
Hmm.
very talented man in many different areas. He's like multifaceted. It's not like he's the modern day polymath. I mean, I don't know. He can do everything basically. But anyways, he's also a big supporter of those communities where maybe they're not getting as much attention as they, maybe deserve. So how am I going to argue about? I ain't going to argue about that, Dale. Uh, am I Tucker
All
still?
right, Tucker. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You got to be careful with that stuff.
Oh, I realize that such a thing and such an argument exists, but I will say, as long as I am drinking this piss water, that I'm gonna continue. Oh, we're gonna get in trouble for piss
Oh,
water.
wait, we already talked about that.
We did. Anyways, all right. So you got our review. You heard what we think about higher education. You got about as much as you could out of the movie there. Um,
Well, we could go on more, but
we're
then you'll be giving
probably
out spoilers. But
yeah, spoilers. We're probably at the point here. Other thing, and it may not come up because I don't know who's still watching this at about an hour, but we'll say this: Tom and I and another friend are also doing a video game endeavor, Baldur's Gate 3. Very
mhm,
popular game from 2023, though in 2025 it's also still popular because up until this year, they were actually Larian Studios, the maker of it, was still putting updates out for the game. So even like
mhm,
up until recently, there have been updates made to the game, um, and they have taken themselves out of Wizards of the Coast, the makers of Dungeons and Dragons, and they apparently Larian Studios has two new role-playing video games, nothing to do with D&D, um, that they're working on right now, which is amazing. 'Cause, and that studio, they take the time. I got that may be a whole nother conversation, but I will just say that studio, they make really good games because they take the time on it. And as Tom and I already
Mm-hmm.
said, revision, revision, revision. Their writing
Mm-hmm.
is not AI slop or generic or
No.
bland, whatever. It's original, it's inspiring. It's people are still going through those games and loving it. So, but anyways, yeah. So we are working on that project. Tom and I are always open to new things, open to new projects.
If you have suggestions or anything, yeah.
We'd love to hear them. We're going to continue to do kind of our newish format, which is, have a drink, talk about something
Or six.
a little serious
Yeah.
conversation that's maybe more topical or maybe more relevant, and then we'll go to like our entertainment topic, which is gonna, usually a movie or a video
Mm-hmm.
game or something else, some other format or a book, whatever. Science fiction, fantasy normally, but we horror, comedy, drama, we'll do whatever. So yeah, if you have anything
Yeah.
you want to drop at us, drop it at us. There's multiple ways. Contact us. Like, dislike, comment, share, hit the button, whatever. We're
Right. Yeah.
Well, and then we'll just end this all off on our accents. So I would just say to you all, go see your dentist. Make sure your teeth are all right. Make sure you get your head all right. And then, make sure that other people understand that you can be an intellectual on many different levels and in many different ways. Tom, anything else you'd like to add to all that?
Hell no.
Hell no. Fuck no. All right, everyone. We will thank you for watching, and we'll
Yeah,
see ya.
thank you.